notches illuminate the business park.
Oh yeah, that's soaking.
Feed the corporate machine. I watch the movies, recite every line and scene. God bless America.
Don't drop your phone.
I'm not the first to live with wool over my eyes. I am so blissfully unaware of everything. Kids in Gaza are bombed and I'm just out of it. The tensions of the world are rising higher. We're probably due another war with all desire.
We are travelling right now from Taupo down to near Eketahuna to Tiratahi farm, which is a 700 hectare grassland farm, uplands and on the flats. Liam and Grace have kindly invited us down to see their operation. They run about 3,000 ewes with about 4,000 to 5,000 lambs, as well as about 105 cows. I've also had a slight mess up with my audio. I've tried to make it as good as I can, so enjoy. So next stop, Tiratahi farm, and we'll learn a bit more about the place.
Tiratahi farm near Eketahuna in the North Island of New Zealand is a 710 hectare block of flat and hill grassland. 20% of the farm is workable with a cultivator and classed as the flats. The farm is subdivided into 158 paddocks, which all have individual water troughs which are gravity fed through springs, as well as 35 stock water ponds and further wetlands. Average yearly rainfall for the farm is about 1,500 millimetres, with 2024 being fairly dry at 1,100 mil.
You said you get about 1,500 mil of rain. Do you ever get a problem down on the flats with all the water coming off of here?
Yeah, occasionally, but yeah, like you would have seen, our flats aren't proper flats. It's only parts of them, and lose the odd fence or floodgate gets taken out by the flood, and yeah, like we obviously get a few puddles and whatnot, but not in terms of like stock losses or anything like that. It'd have to be a pretty big event. But yeah, our biggest problem with the rain is like getting the slips or landslides on the hills.
Yeah.
Like they take out fences, and they're obviously a bit of a hazard for stock getting stuck in. In here it's not too bad, like you can see some older ones over there. But
oh yeah,
this side of the road's pretty good really.
In terms of stocking, the farm is stocked with 3,000 Romney Coopworth breeding ewes, which Liam and Grace try to target 4,500 to 5,000 lambs to hit the ground, with 300 of the best lambs being kept to go to the ram. Ewes are left to lamb unassisted up on the hill, so maintenance of the land is essential to avoid open gullies, landslips, and ewes getting into precarious situations like we all know sheep tend to do.
Now we're in, like that's the end of our hoggers here, and then these are just the lambs that have just been weaned from all our ewes put a lamb out here. We just brought the lambs back to where they came from just to settle down, and then in January we'll sort them up and choose our replacement new lambs and pull out some more big males to go on the better country, and then the rest will just come back out here somewhere, and the ewes will rotate through this country and like give it a good tidy up and keep the quality good for these lambs will rotate.
What age is this bike?
2 years old.
2 years, and it's done 16,000 kilometres, is that right?
Yeah, it's done 17,000.
17,000? That's quite a few kilometres for a bike.
We used to do more because we had like a bike each, but now we've got the side-by-side and like a spare bike, so yeah, this one doesn't do as many as it probably used to.
How long have you had a side-by-side?
Probably only about 3 years. Yeah, they are good. They're pretty handy for, well, especially pretty handy for the kids and carting them around, and a bit nice for the dogs. Obviously normally you just have the dogs on the back on the hills in a trailer when we're going up and down the road or the flats, but yeah, in terms of the hill country in winter we don't really like them. The side-by-sides are a little bit too big, a little bit heavy. A lot of our country they're fine on, but then you get to like just one spot and the track's a little bit too narrow or a little bit too slippery. I just think they're a bit heavy, but some people just have them and get on fine with them.
Grace and Liam are currently trialling and moving towards a woolless breed of sheep, the Nudie. To reduce the maintenance of the flock, no dagging or dipping is required for these sheep. Alongside their flock of sheep, the farm runs 105 mixed Angus cows. The pure Angus cows go to an Angus bull, and is semi-used over the dairy cross cows. All stock are kept either for heifer replacements or through to finishing weight. The cows run in small mobs with the sheep. They are able to graze the poorer of the grass and generally keep paddocks tidy. It allows higher quality grass to then grow further beyond that for the lambs.
Those cows and calves there are just following some of our bigger weaned lambs, grooming the pastures behind them. Yeah, they're our yearling heifers that we're going to be mating on about the 20th of January. They're pretty much all over 350 kilos now.
Will they all go to the Angus?
Yeah, these ones will. We've got a couple of low birth weight bulls, so that's pretty much what our cows are going to look like.
Yeah.
A lot more Angus than our current cows. And a couple of speckle parks and whatnot that we like the look of.
What a view.
Yeah, so this is a good viewing point.
I'm not smart enough to change a thing. I have no answers, only questions. Don't you ask a thing? Oh, the silver-tongued suits and cartoons that rule my world. Saying it's a high time for hypersonic missiles. When the bombs drop down and kill you, see that you've lived your life.
Even though fertiliser prices over the last few years have been fairly volatile, with strong prices having to be paid for them, Grace and Liam are pretty keen on keeping up on their fertiliser programmes, with a real focus on the sulphur levels in the soil, as a relatively high rainfall results in quite a bit of sulphur losses through the soil. Interestingly, all the fert and sprays are done with a plane or a helicopter. Recently, they did 700 tonnes of lime in only one day, 4 minutes per load, which is about 2 tonne a load. Some of the ground is fairly steep and relatively unstable, so the worst of the bits are planted in trees to try and increase the structure in the soil.
Are those trees in there just to prevent the slipping?
Oh yeah, that one. We did those ones a bit late, obviously, because that was a slip.
Yeah, just
But,
after the slip.
It's pretty hard to. Yeah, like this is. We're sort of just cracking and moving, so put them in there. But yeah, they are sort of struggling. They don't like the wind. It's pretty exposed.
Yeah.
There's one struggling big time there, and that one's dead. But yeah, they'll get up and going. Good 5 years before they actually start doing anything.
Yeah.
Willows and poplar trees just holding up the bottom of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is the manuka that we're talking about. That's what.
Ah, okay,
So it's just started flowering here. It's probably been flowering up north, and it's quite a bit earlier. So
Yeah, so the bees will pick up the
they'll
pollen off of that.
Yep, they'll be busy with the hives, and around here they get them helicoptered in to a lot of areas. Like helicopter, like I don't know what it is, probably 4 hives on a pallet.
Oh, right.
Drop them in the middle of the block.
Just bring them in when the pollen's there.
Yeah, and take them out, and they go to different arears, go to orchards and whatnot.
Yeah.
A couple of our steeper paddocks. That's our Sean Tudus on the left, which is 2-year-olds.
Yeah.
And then this is just our mixed stage ewes on the right, and about half of them are due to be shorn.
They'll be so fit moving about all these fields.
Yes, that's another thing. That's why we don't have much problem at lambing time, because they just naturally fit. Well, same as everything, our hoggets, and yeah, we try and have them on steeper stuff like this pre-lambing at least, and we probably bring them down, some of them down onto the flats for lambing, but by then they're not overly fat or unfit, so we like to think they'd lamb pretty well.
That whole carbon farm is massive, isn't it?
Yeah, it is really. It's going to be a little bit of an eyesore, but
What size did you say it was?
the whole farm was 500 hectares, and we bought 40 hectares, so it's probably around 450. And yeah, like our flats down there that we've just bought, they're good at the moment, but obviously in 5 or 10 years they're going to be pretty shaded.
Yeah.
And the top half's going to be covered in pine needles and probably become pretty sour, but it is what it is, and hopefully the trees don't start dropping on our fences. And
Sheep are mustered using up to 9 dogs from the hill ground down into the wool sheds, where the dogs dagged, dipped, clipped, or all the other countless maintenance jobs sheep require. The 700 hectares has 3 main wool sheds to muster the flocks into, each with their individual handling systems and yards. Liam has recently invested in a new Tiratahi squeeze, weighing and drafting system for the lambs, which I am clearly on board with. Big fan.
You like it?
yeah, it's really good, yeah. Yeah, then we just, I think, push that down. Just get that out of the way for crutching. Yeah, nothing ever tries to come through there, so
What's this part for?
Just to stop the next
Stop them
sheep from
jumping,
coming
yeah.
through.
Go back and you just be here like chasing them up and just, yeah.
Yeah.
Our other one needs power, this one's just air, so it's pretty simple system that they've got.
Another thing Liam has recently invested in is a Kobelco 5-ton digger for improving tracks on the farm, and like myself he has amassed an endless list of jobs to do with the machine now.
There's quite a lot of them in places you wouldn't think the trucks would get to.
Yeah, a lot of the places is like just truck only, they don't take a big trailer, but 90% of them is a good like wide gravel yard like that they can get the big stuff into. Beef flock cows, so they'll all go to the simi bull. There might be a couple that we pull out that we like the look of to go to an Angus, but I think we're pretty happy. A lot of them are half dairy, so they have that, like I said, that good milking ability.
Yeah.
Hopefully get some good semi-cross calves out of them next year.
Down below you're about 170 metres,
Yeah.
and you go up to
I think it's right on 300.
300, right, yeah.
Yeah, you can leave it open, I think. Yeah, so this guy was born in 2019, and that's his mate there, and then
Yeah.
we've got two that we bought last year.
Quite stocky still, quite wee short legs.
Get that, yeah, we don't want the big rangy cows. And then,
Yeah.
this is the simi. It's getting on a bit now, he'll be a couple of years older than those two. But yeah, he's a nice bull, he's pretty quiet, still got good muscle, and yeah, we'll get a replacement for him in the next year or two, hopefully.
Yeah. Do you find it takes much managing because you're keeping your own replacements?
Oh, a little bit, but yeah, I think we get, well, especially Grace gets a lot of satisfaction out of your own replacements and having beef herd. Yeah, so they're our 2-year-olds.
A bit younger, yeah.
Yeah.
So they've not done any work yet?
Nah, they haven't, nah. So yeah.
Do you keep him up there on purpose? Is he a bit of a nuisance?
No, he's not really, but yeah, he got slightly injured in mating.
Yeah.
And so we just we didn't want other bulls fighting with him, and he's pretty much, come right now, so he's just been in there living the dream the whole winter by himself, so yeah, they'll probably have a good fight if we put them back together now.
Hello, slight change of scene. Grace and Liam very kindly put us up for the night, fed us, watered us, and we also got talking a wee bit more in depth about discussion groups and succession. They, along with a lot of local farmers, are in a discussion group where they have a very detailed list of figures and numbers for their farms, and it goes right down to effectively the profit line of the business, and they share that with their neighbours, and their neighbours share that with them, and they are doing that because they're not in competition. Farmers are not necessarily in competition with each other because we're dealing on a nationwide or worldwide commodity market. So your neighbour doing well does not affect your numbers, and you doing well does not affect his numbers. So working together and sharing what you're doing is benefiting them. They showed us a breakdown of all their numbers and figures and how being part of the discussion group has helped them find anomalies compared to other farmers and whatever it may be, whether it's feed costs, input costs, grass growth, stock mortality rates, whatever it may be. They're learning from other farmers and other farmers are learning from them, and it's something I would like to take home, try and set up some sort of discussion group with local farmers, whether it starts with just the beef side. I'd like to kind of nail that down as best I can over the next kind of 2 years maybe. Also, they spoke about succession. New Zealand is very different in the way they deal with inheritance and succession planning than we do at home. Land is very transactional, whereas I feel like at home, land is like another family member. You'd be hung, drawn and quartered if you sold off a bit. I spoke a little bit more in the car.
Big thanks to Liam and Grace for having us, put us up, fed us, watered us, showed us around their farm, a lovely spot, clearly on the ball with what they're trying to do. It's really interesting how succession works in this country. It's very proactive and done early. So in 6 months' time, Liam and Grace actually completely take over the farm and own the farm. They have to buy it at market rate. There's no gifting or inheritance benefits in this country, moving it down a generation. So they're very transactional with their land in this country. So between them and their dad, they've sold off 400 hectares to pay off debts, pay off family members, so the land can come down a generation and them afford to be able to do that. And now they kind of start again as such. Very interesting the way they do it out here. Anyway, thank you very much for having us, and we'll see you in the next video.